Shalom Israel. First and foremost, we give all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh Shem El Shai Bahashem, Rekah Kadash, the born apostles, and elders of great millstone who teach us this truth. Peace and blessings to hope like to Israel, and Shalom. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father in ancient Hebrew. Bahashem means the name, and Yahushai is the name of the only-begotten Son. Back on the lesson, and today we're going to be going to the recent news. As you see Biden considering sending thousands of troops. So you see the tensions that are rising and that a fight is meaning to happen. Just recently made that lesson, I believe 2 days ago, going to the wars and rumors of wars. And now you're starting to see it to pick up the pace. The Lord is hastening times, and you're literally seeing prophecy fly out of this book, man. But let's read a quick article. Get a few scriptures, and Lord wants to find lessons. Get into it. It says Biden considers sending thousands of troops, warships, and aircraft to Eastern Europe. A major shift in stance towards Russia amid mounting fears of a Ukraine invasion. So Biden's, considering to, back up Ukraine and sending thousands of troops. As you in the article title, it says warships and aircrafts. So, I mean, come on. If you don't see what this is building up to and leading to, I mean, it's right in front of your face, man. And we have been telling you and warning you to spare Paul Yahweh side that these things were coming. So President Biden is considering deploying several thousand American troops together with warships and aircraft to NATO ally countries located in the Baltics. During a meeting in Camp David over the weekend, Pentagon officials outlined various options to President Biden. Options would see American military might move a step closer to the Russian border. Among strategies being considered, between 1,000 to 5,000 troops could be relocated to countries in Eastern Europe. There would also be a potential to increase to 50,000 should the need arise. So, wars and rumors of wars. You're seeing the build up towards World War III, man. And you're seeing the foundation of it being built. There's still, other prophecies that still need to be fulfilled and, play out before, World War III takes place. But this goes to show that, we're nearing the end. None of the military options would see the deployment of additional American troops to Ukraine. Let's get a little bit more. It says U.S. President Joe Biden has begun considering options for boosting American military assets in the Baltics and Eastern Europe, including warships and aircraft. Senior administration officials said it comes after meetings with his top national security aides at his Camp David retreat over the weekend. So you see the threats and the tension that is, between these nations, and, a fight could break out at any moment. The New York Times said Biden was mulling plans to send 1,000 to 5,000 troops to Eastern Europe countries with the possibility of increasing numbers should tensions flare further. Okay, so going to Twitter, which was yesterday. But the U.S. Department orders diplomat families in Ukraine to leave amid ongoing tension with Russia. The State Department ordering diplomats' families to leave the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv on Sunday and urged U.S. citizens to leave the country due to the threat of Russian military action. ABC News reports U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Wednesday that Washington would pursue a diplomatic resolution with Russia as long as it could. Reuters reports Blinken's visit to Europe comes after inconclusive stability talks with Russia last week, with fears of Russian invasion in Ukraine continuing to grow. And now you see Joe Biden planning to send thousands of troops over to Ukraine. So the U.S. ordered families of its embassy employees in Kyiv to leave Ukraine and authorize the departure of non-essential staff. So you see they're starting to evacuate the people that are there. So you kind of see, what this is leading up to. So you might see a fight or a battle break out, which, we have to see how this plays out. Still prophecies that still need to be fulfilled before, World War III takes place. But you're seeing all the buildup and the tension that is rising.
The United States and Ukraine will provoke Russia claims the United States and Ukraine will provoke it on the eve of the Winter Olympics, and saying that it will defend Russians from American and Ukrainian aggression, but that it won't attack, only defend. But the "we will defend but not attack" line has been the Kremlin's favorite as it's looked to commit false flags to justify an invasion. Just last week, the US foiled a false flag attempt by Russia in eastern Ukraine, and yesterday the UK revealed a Russian plot to overthrow the Ukrainian government and put a pro-Russian leader in power. Now, Russia insists that the West is lying and that they have no plans to invade Ukraine, but actions speak louder than words, and they still continue to exhibit aggressive behavior like putting more troops on the border. So hopefully that helps you understand why.
So there you go. Ultimately the end goal is World War III, and we all know we'll ultimately have to see how this plays out and what will come from it. But at the end of the day, World War III it is prophesied in the scriptures, man, and this is ultimately what it's building up towards. But the book of Matthew chapter 24 verse 2 through 8. And Yahushua said unto them, See not all things verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Now he sat upon the Mount of Olives. The disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So then you go and list off those signs. So and Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, and shall deceive many. Many false prophets and false leaders, leading our people astray, teaching false doctrine. Verse 6, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. 2 days ago, you just made a lesson going to, the tension that is, between these nations, man. And now you're starting to see it starting to pick up and rise, man. We have been warning you and prophesying to the Spirit and Prayah Bashmashai that, hey, this was coming. And what do people do? Oh, you're crazy. People have been saying it's going to happen for years now. You don't know what you're talking about. It's a conspiracy theory. People like to doubt, man, and y'all that want to continue to not hearken into the words of Yahweh Mashai through his prophets will be destroyed. Verse 6 says, see that ye be not troubled, for all things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. So we're starting to see a famine brew. Certain grocery stores, other businesses not having the necessities that they need to stock their shelves, and have a lot of people fighting over that also. And pestilences, seeing tons of pestilence, earthquakes everywhere, man. Verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. Point out, once again, year 2020, to the year 2021, people are, this can't get worse. I can't wait to, go into the year 2021, new year, new me, things will finally get better. Well, guess what? Things only got worse. And, what do people say again? Finally going to the new year, things will get better. Things are starting to go back to the way they were. Well, guess what? Things are only going to get worse. Now you see a fight that is starting to brew, which ultimately going to build up towards World War III. Revelations 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So the second World War is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly, which is talking about the Third World War. And you're seeing these small little fights, battles breaking out, and the tension that has been built up to the point that, any fight, a fight could break out at any moment, man. Luke chapter 21, verse 25 through 28. And there should be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth. Distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. So you're seeing tons of chariot sightings, eclipses, blood moons. And the moon and the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity. You've seen tons of riots, protests taking place all over the world because of the restrictions and mandates. The sea and the waves roaring. I believe pretty recently, China, had a earthquake or whatever from the volcano, caused a tsunami, I believe. Verse 26 says, Men hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Once people see how Shai returning and these prophecies playing out, people are going to be shook, man. Verse 27. And when they shall see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory, which is going to a chariot, a so-called UFO today. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Our salvation is nearer than we believed. So you see, we're nearing the end of this devil's kingdom, his rulership. As you see, these prophecies are literally flying out of this book, man. The Lord is hastening the days, man. Let's go over these last two scriptures I got. book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 10 to 12, says, Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. So you have these other nations starting to prepare to go to war, preparing to fight, continuing on in their nuclear advances, testing out new missiles, as you see with China and Russia, testing those new intercontinental ballistic missiles that they have. That's faster than the regular missiles. But it says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. So Yahweh is leading these nations for their destruction, man. Verse 12 says, Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So you're going to have, Yahweh leading these nations, for their destruction. Jeremiah chapter 50, I believe, going to how all these different nations will be in array against Babylon. In this article, you have Esau thinking about pushing, towards, troops sending over there into Ukraine. So you see, a fight is meaning to happen, which, let the heathen be weakened, and come up to the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat, for there will sit and judge all the heathen round about, which goes to Yahweh's judgment. It says, the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat. Call these other two scriptures I got. It says, Joel chapter 3, verse 2, says, I will also gather the nations and will bring them down to the valley of Yahweh-Shaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and part of my land. So Yahweh is leading these nations, for the destruction, man. And you see the tension that has been constantly rising to almost its peak. And once it reaches that climax, it's going to explode, man. All hell will break loose, and you're seeing, all these different nations in array against Babylon, thermonuclear missiles, shooting in these places too, man. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 33, verse 33. Wait till it refreshes. It said, When this come to pass, the Lord will come, then shall I know that a prophet hath been among them. So once you see these prophecies coming to pass and playing out, you're going to know that a prophet has been among you, that you have been warned. Because you have a lot of people in these last days saying, I wasn't warned, no one told me about this. How do I repent? What are the true names? Those people, they're going to be seeking the prophets, for his truth, his knowledge, and understanding. And it's going to be too late for that, man. You have people having that realization, hey, those prophets on those highways and byways, hey, they were correct. Those lessons that they were posting, on the internet, they were correct. But people don't want to take this serious until it's at their doorstep, and they're already through, man. It's gonna be too late. But pretty much at the point is the lesson. Just make a quick update as far as what's going on with these, wars and rumors of wars, the tension that we see between USA and Russia, and as you see Biden planning on sending 1,000 to 5,000 troops over there in Ukraine, and now you're starting to see them evacuate the people that's over there. So a fight could break out from this. We ultimately see how this plays out, which ultimately the end goal, the prophecy, World War III. But this shows things that still need to be fulfilled before this ultimately comes to pass. And it's pretty much it in a lesson, but once edifying, I'll close out. I want to give all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh Bashem Mashai, Bashem Kakadash, the born of the apostles, and all the good mills who teach us this truth. Peace and blessings to all of Israel, and shalom. See you next one.